Hey, you guys, this is Jen. Several people have asked me to show them how I do a page for my journal. I don't know if this is going to work. When I work, it's just like crazy stuff. I mean, I'm like putting different things on, trying this, trying that, taking this off. It's just kind of a mess. So I don't ever really have a plan, but I told somebody I would give it a shot, so I'm giving it a shot and we'll see what happens. So this is my tutorial on how I put a page together. First of all, I usually do altered books, so I end up with a page like out of the book that I've cut out of the book because I need to thin out the pages. So I save all those pages and then I usually work on one page, and then when I get it the way I want it, I glue it back in the book. So this is the page like that came out of the book. Um, and also, I mean, like if you're going to do your own, you would have like a double page or whatever. But this is just like if I was going to do a page out of an altered book. Also, a lot of people buy these really gorgeous, you know, back what do you call them, background pages, and they're beautiful and everything, but by the time I end up putting so much stuff on my page and so many layers, you really can't see the background that well, and I hate to waste a beautiful piece of paper, when I cover it up with so much stuff. So a lot of times I do not use like a background paper like that. I have a lot of old sheets of music paper, or somebody, Rosemary Archdera, sent me this. It's a very old book. It's fallen apart. It's a dictionary, and the pages are really old and crumbly, but if you glue it down for like a background or whatever, then it works just fine. So I'm going to take this, and I usually glance over it to make sure it doesn't have anything horrible on it, for a definition, because I don't want it to show up somewhere and it would be horrible. Anyway, this is my homemade Mod Podge, which is basically just water and Elmer's glue mixed together. Not very much water. It's a lot cheaper than Mod Podge and it works just fine. So I'm brushing that on my page, and doesn't matter, how it looks or whatever, because it's, the bottom, and it's going to be covered up with a whole bunch of stuff. So I just put that down. And also, when I'm trying to put a page together, one of the first things I do, I like that rough edge, so I'm going to put that over this way. One of the first things I do is either find a picture that inspires me, or a quote, or something. I mean, you got to have some kind of an idea as to what you're going to try and say with this page. This paper is so brittle that I can just basically, peel it off, because it's it's very old, and that's what I really like about it. And some of the definitions, if you have time to read them, are really funny. They don't even have definitions for a lot of the things we have today. So anyway, that one came up a little short, but that's okay. There are no mistakes, because you can always fix it, cover it, make it look like it was supposed to be that way. It always works out in the end, so don't worry if you make a mistake or something. Then I use a ton of ink. This happens to be Vintage Photo, which is one of my favorites, and just I ink the heck out of everything because it gives it that vintage look. If you are not, into vintage or whatever, then you probably wouldn't be doing this. Sorry. And I'm also sorry I don't have like lovely background music for your listening pleasure. But, on the other hand, you get to listen to me, and wow, how fun is that? So, I'm covering this up with some ink. And, you know, I love quotes and stuff. I like to make it have a little soul. I like to make it feel like it has some meaning or it's trying to convey something to someone else. And this actually, I was looking through my pictures. I thought this was really cute. It's a little girl with a toy elephant on a string, and it says strictly no elephants on the door. And so this is the picture that I was going to put on my page. So my printer is kind of messed up, and I have lovely cardstock, but when I go to use it, it jams every time. So I printed this on just regular copy paper, and that's fine. But the problem is if you go to make a tuck spot or a hidden pocket or whatever, it's so thin and it doesn't have, any strength to it. So you gotta do something, at least I do, to make it feel stronger or something. This is corrugated cardboard. I don't know if I'm going to use that or not. I'm trying to. The problem also is the more stuff you put on, the thicker your page gets, and then you end up with your book, so full. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Anyway, let's see what we got over here. Here is a bag, which of course is way too huge. But if I folded it, let's see, I could make it about half the size. And then that would give some stability to the picture and still allow me a tuck spot to put something in behind it. That's not too bad. Anyway, that's not a bad idea. I think I'll probably go with that. I'm going to ink the edges a little bit. Not really so much where it's really black because you can't actually see it. But on the edges, I'll just give it a little ink. And, okay, now I think, like you've got to have, I don't know, some kind of interest on here. I like to use fabrics sometimes because you can do so much with them, and you can, like, this is a Tim Holtz fabric, and it's like music notes, and I don't know, and I do a lot of sewing. I am not going to do sewing today because you are sitting on my sewing machine right now. Here, this is also, this came off of a child's bed sheet. It was a set for a crib, a baby crib, and it was in French. But I got that at the thrift store. And I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, this definitely needs some color. It's too white. This is my little bottle of coffee dye. I do a lot of coffee, like I do my coffee in the oven, for my background papers. But there's always something when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like, oh gosh, I want to coffee dye that. And I don't want to run to the kitchen and go through all that. So I keep my little spray bottle here, and then you can just, squirt it. And it has a lovely color, as you can see. And then I take my little heat gun and just dry it off. It doesn't take very long. All of my things are just a mess as far as, like, this has glue and pieces of wax and all kinds paints and all kinds of stuff. I'm a very messy crafter, I guess, but that's okay. That gets the job done. And it just, I don't know, it just looks so much more, uh, it looks like it fits when, when it's all white like that, it just looks too new and too pristine, and I like it to look kind of junky. So, there's this one, and, whoops, um, this one's kind of okay. Let's see here. So there's one of my hairs. I just, this is why it's hard, because I'm not exactly sure how it's going to play out. And you just kind of keep messing with things. And, then all of a sudden I've spent an, an hour and a half, and I'm not even done with one page yet. This is why it takes me forever to get a page done, because I change my mind and I mess around with stuff, and I just, yeah, it takes me a while. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna even put this under the picture and over the bag. It's a little too long. Nothing in my stuff is ever measured. I rip and tear and cut and eyeball it, and I never, sit there and do it probably the way you should. But it always works. So anyway, I'm going to put that down here over the bag, but I want a little bit of the bag to show. Let's try this, because I want people to know that there's a place where the quote is, or the paper or whatever I'm going to put in that tuck spot. So that looks pretty good. And then, like, if I was going to do this like this, I would go ahead and stitch this on the machine. And, well, actually, I would stitch this on the machine, because if you stitch it on the bag, you're going to close up your bag. That's not a very good idea. So, and then I would probably, I don't know if this one will, let's see here. Yep. And I save all of my little scraps, because, like, in this, thing, if you can see in here, it's just little pieces of lace and this and that and stuff that I have used and just have little pieces left of. And I save all that stuff because, oh my God, I will use it. Sometimes you just need a little piece of this or that to make it look complete. And so I always hang on to that stuff. And this, so I would put this like this, and take this little piece of whatever it is, and I would put this over the edge, maybe something like that. And then I would take maybe some metal embellishments. I covered these, I painted these to make them look rusty. I've got a couple of keys and some buttons, and, like, maybe something like a key, because she's in front of the door. I also have a ton of different kinds of buttons, and here's a whole bunch of little tiny buttons, if you can see those. And these are really cute, like, to take them and just, they don't do anything, but it's just like a little accent. Like, if you sew 2 or 3 buttons, like right here in the dark part of the picture, or, something like that, to make it, I don't know, just to give it a little something extra. Those two are stuck together. So, I don't know. something like that. I'm not actually putting this together with glue and everything because of the fact that, like I said, I would be using my sewing machine. The sewing machine, is really nice. It sticks everything together. Sometimes glue has a tendency to bubble or ripple, and I don't like that. So that's, I don't know, that's pretty close to what I would do with my page. I might add a doily down here. A lot of my doilies I spray also with the coffee stain. And, I might stick this up here behind the sack. You know, uh, Even after I finish a page, even after I finish a book, I still go back and find things that I would add to the page. I, I just, it's more like a feeling than the way it looks. Like I'll be working on something and all of a sudden I'm like, it doesn't feel done. I can't really explain what that means. It sounds crazy, but like I'll look at it and stuff, and then I'll be like, and then when I finally get to the end, where something is, I don't know, you'll put something in there or whatever, and then it feels done. And I'm like, okay, I can be done with this now. So this is basically what I would do, and then I would get a tag like this or something, and I would probably put some kind of quote on it like, I don't know, you get by with a little help from your friends, or never let them steal your joy, or never give up, or keep on believing, just something, because, how is she going to get that elephant into that door when it says strictly no elephants? So I would use, sorry, some kind of uplifting. This is hysterical. I'm sorry. I would use some kind of an uplifting, inspiring, you can do it type of quote. I would put that on here, and then I would probably get some, coffee dyed paper and just fold it up for extra, paper for writing on, because by the time I get my pages done, there is no space for writing on the page, so I always have to tuck in extra paper for writing. So I don't know, that gives you a little insight. I hope this helps or whatever. I hope it's answering some of your questions. Thank you so much for watching. And, I wanted to share with you, this is how my room looks on a daily basis. I work in here every day except Saturday, which is the day I have my granddaughter. Oh, there's my treat. And so, yeah, here we go. This is my whole place, and here is my little, whoops, where is it? Here's my little sewing machine, which I love. It's like a little tiny craft sewing machine, and it sits right on the edge of my desk. So like when I go to sew something, I don't have to get it out. It's just always right there, and it's very convenient. I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I always like to have everything at my fingertips because it's easier on me than moving around and stretching. So anyway, I hope you have a great day. I hope this gave you some ideas. All I can tell you is play around with it, have a good time with it, and, just work on it until it feels right. You guys, thanks so much for your support, and talk to you later. Bye.